Hey everyone, welcome to Anime Chess, where I analyze other people's Fire Emblem gameplay as if it's a chess match, so that we can learn from it and maybe even have a little fun. I love doing analytical content, but sometimes I think it's a little too conceptual, too abstract, and Anime Chess gives me a way to give more practical tips on how to be better at Fire Emblem. If you want to know more about Anime Chess, check out the previous 2 episodes. You can find a link to the playlist down below. Now, today's episode features one of my Patreons actually, Hayden. The previous 2 were from other YouTubers, but you can also submit games and gameplay videos through Patreon or Discord. Again, more details in the other videos. You might wonder, why are we doing FE6 after we did FE7, FE8? That's like another GBA Fire Emblem game. I know, but GBA is so good for these because while the games are overall simplistic and a lot of them are mostly easy, there are some difficult chapters in there that make for very good analysis content, and the trouble with other games is they're sometimes not as difficult. Like, I can't think of a single really hard map in FE9, for example. And some games I'm less familiar with, Fates, Awakening. This is a very easy game to analyze. Almost everything you need to know is on the screen almost all the time, whereas in Three Houses and Fates you have like all these skills. This is very easy to keep track of, but still very educational because there's a lot you can learn and analyze just from positioning and weapon equipment, etc. So, as I said, this is from one of my Patreons, Hayden. Thank you for submitting. Hayden said in his video that he hasn't played FE6 in a long time. He's beaten normal mode, only the bad ending, but that's not really relevant right now. He's sort of watched FE6 on hard mode on streams and stuff, but he's forgotten a lot. But he knows a couple things about the chapter, so it's not entirely blind, it's semi-blind. For example, he knows about Rutger, he knows what turn he comes in on, it's apparently turn 6. He knows about the pirates, but not exactly when and where and how. So he has some plans. I'm not going to play his full video at normal speed with sound on his end, because it'll make it easier to commentate on my end if I just have the chill synthwave music on the background and my own voice to listen to. So you won't hear him here, but you know, you can see what he does, and that's the most important part. Alright, let's get into it. So, FE6 Hard Mode, Iron Man, Chapter 4. No preparations to be made. There's probably some things you can do in preparation, but we'll get into those as we go along. Hayden does a couple things right away that I think are very smart. He spends a lot of time figuring out, you know, what attack these enemies have, how far can they move, how far can my characters move, where do I put them to make sure they're not in danger on turn 1, which is very good. It's not something I would like to show on camera because it is not very fun to look at. But when you're playing by yourself, you're not really recording for like a stream to be entertaining. You have no reason to make it harder on yourself. You should check enemy stats and everything. So in Chapter 4, there are 2 different approaches you can take, depending on how much you know about the game, how blind you are playing. One of them is to be on the offensive and to try and kill as many things as you can right away. Basically move out of the starting point and get going, which is not super difficult to do if you know exactly what everything is going to how everything is going to move, what everything is doing, what your characters are capable of. But if you're playing semi-blind like Hayden, it's smarter to use the choke points to your advantage, use the bridges, and like he's doing here, setting Shanna out to the bottom to go and get the Angela Grove village, which is going to be under attack by pirates. So I generally like that move. There are some things to be optimized here, but generally I think the approach that he's taking, which is, you know, take it easy, choke the points, is a good approach. There are drawbacks to it that we'll get into later, but generally it is a good idea. Now, of course, the main trouble with Chapter 4 in the beginning is that there are 3 choke points, but you only have 1 really good offensive and defensive unit, which is Marcus right here. You can see he's contemplating where exactly to move him, which is the most important move on turn 1 by far. And the other choke pointers are going to be like, your best options are like Boars and Deke defensively, and neither of them are even that great at doing damage on a counterattack. But they are your best options. The upper Cavalier, the upper choke point, you can also take care of with Roy if you want to, because I think he 2 shots with the Rapier, thanks to triple effectiveness, and the guy has an Iron Sword, so I generally like using Roy for that, but I can't fault anyone for using Board Eater. Now here, hold up. He decides to put Marcus here, which is as far as Marcus can go, and in range of all these 3 enemies. Not in range of this upper Cav, I think that's fine. I think there's ways to put him in range of all 3, but I get what he's going for. He put him in range of a Nomad and 2 Cavaliers. And he very deliberately equipped the Javelin when he had the Silverlance to equip. Now, if you're playing FE7, FE8, and you're like mid and late game, you always want to equip a Javelin because, you know, you're going to 1 round anyway, so you might as well use the 1-2 range weapon so you also kill the Nomad. Or if you don't double Nomad, at least you weaken him. But in this case, Marcus is not 1 round with a Javelin. It's not even close. He does like maybe a third or a fourth of their HP. a little more to Nomad, like half, a little less than half. But it's also less accurate, and I think you'll find that generally the Silver Lance is a better option. Now, I think for most people that's, you know, it's a bit weird to not deliberately choose not to counter a Nomad, but it makes sense in this situation. It'll make even more sense in the upcoming turns. One thing to keep in mind here that I want to get off my chest right away. This is the only chapter, I think, in FE6's early game where Silver Lance should be used a lot. In the early game, you're facing mostly axe enemies, and you're almost always using Marcus to set up kills for other people. Think of like Chapter 1. Whenever you're ever using the Silver Lance in Chapter 1, if you're not LTCing, you're just setting up kills for Lance or for Alan or for Roy, so they can get the kills. It's pretty easy. This chapter you're under so much pressure that there's no point in like trying to set up kills for others. You're trying to get kills in the first place. And then after this, Chapter 5 is mostly axes, and Chapter 6 is so easy. You can use like iron axes, hand axes, javelins, whatever you want. You don't need the Silver Lance for anything in that chapter. So if there's a time to spend your Silver Lance uses, it's here. You also get another Silver Lance in Chapter 6. So even if you run out between now and the end of the chapter, you're still pretty much fine for the rest of the game. Like maybe you'll use a couple on Nomads and Mercenaries in Chapter 5, but that's about it. So don't be afraid to spend your Silver Lance on the uses. And I'm emphasizing this because I don't think you guys know that Hoarding is a pitfall. I think most of you know. But because I remember Hayden saying in his voice commentary that he's worried about conserving weapon uses. Like I think he was deliberately making sure he didn't spend any Silver Lance and killing edge uses whenever he was able to conserve them. Which I understand, but for this chapter, really go all out with Silver Lance. It will make your life so much easier. But yeah, he chooses to get the Javelin here, and now we're positioning everyone else. I'm not going to show this whole part because it's a lot of range checking and stat checking. But basically he's going to make sure that the choke points are occupied and that enemies cannot attack anyone but Marcus, which is smart because if they can attack someone like Deke or Roy or Chad or someone like that, they probably will go for it. You can see a little bit of fun optimization here. Merlinus has some items that should be on other characters. He just happens to have them because he went to the armory and he visited the village. So for example, right here, he grabs the javelin that Lance doesn't have, gets it out in a way that makes sure that both Merlinus and Lance can still go wherever they want. This is something he does correctly. It doesn't matter too much because units are not going to move around a whole lot in the early game, but there are situations where it does matter. For instance, with the Mend that is currently in Merlinus' normal inventory, not his convoy, you kind of want that to be on Ellen, and this would be a good opportunity to either have Merlinus trade it to Ellen, or to have someone grab it from Merlinus and then trade it to Ellen, or something like that. But instead, he's going to move it in a way that makes Ellen a bit less flexible in the next turn. I don't think it impacts much, but I like these tiny optimizations. So right here, for example, if Ellen wants to get out to Mend this turn, she has to go in Roy's position, and then next turn she won't be able to heal Marcus if he stays in that position, or Alan or Lance, whoever this is. So keep in mind that sometimes you might want to think that through a little bit more. These are small optimizations, not very big ones, but I think they're notable. Alright, so we've wrapped up player phase, and now we're getting into enemy phase. You can see that not all calves are immediately aggressive. 3 of them, I think, from the left side just started moving, and there's these 3 that are right in your face. And over the turns, I think more and more start moving. So if you cannot tackle the initial wave quick enough, then you'll get more and more calves piling up in your face, and it becomes harder and harder to leave the starting point. You really get stuck behind those choke points, which is okay as long as you're safe, but there are reinforcements later on in the chapter that will make that more difficult. So let's keep that in mind for in the future. And here you can see Boris, he's doing 8 damage at 29 HP, so from the top of my head, he's like 4 hit KO in this cav. This is why Roy gets it done a little bit faster. Of course, Roy has less defense, so it's also a bit riskier in a way, but the payoffs that Roy gets to kill that guy, I think, turn 2, maybe with some chip from Lou, it'd be fine. And here's the main advantage to Marcus having the Javelin, is he counters the Nomad, which is great, because now that Nomad is damaged, of course, you have no way of actually disposing of all these enemies. Before we continue with the upper formation, I want to talk about Shanna real quick, because I just happened to pause it at a nice frame to do this in. So Hayden said beforehand that he knows that there's pirates coming from these forts. There's one over here that you can see, there's another one on the other side, like right outside of the screen, going for the village over here. And he chose to send Shanna straight for the village. She's going to go fly on here, stay out of enemy range, especially the Nomads, very important to stay out of range. Check this very deliberately, and that's decent. It's a good strategy overall, especially for a blind player with little information. I want to add a little bit onto it. I think he knows that there's a strategy where you can grab one of the units you don't really plan on using much and drop them on the forts or on the reinforcement spots to make sure the pirates don't spawn. You notice they're set there on the forts, but it's actually a little bit tricky, and Hayden knows that he's not sure if they spawn on the forts or right beside the forts, and he's afraid that if he doesn't block the right spot, then the pirates will attack him, kill the unit he's dropped there, and then he'll be in trouble. He doesn't want to lose units right like that, which understandable. And you know, it's a reasonable fear because one of the pirates spawns on the forts and one of them spawns off the forts. I'm not even going to look up where they spawn exactly, because if you guys want to look that up, you can do that yourself. What I get across is that you can make a safe drop to block the reinforcements and still get benefit out of it, even not knowing exactly where the pirates spawn. This might not be exactly applicable for this chapter, but maybe in future chapters or other chapters in other games. What you need is a character that can either survive regardless of whether the pirate spawns or not, or a character you don't really care about. A good example of the former, I think, is Chad. I haven't tried this strategy myself, but in theory, I think it works. I believe Chad can survive one of these pirate reinforcements as long as he's on a fort, and they'll have like very low hit rates on him. I think like sub like 20, maybe even 10 hit or something. So if you drop Chad on the fort I highlighted here, even if a pirate spawns right next to him, they'll attack him and they probably won't hit him and they probably won't OHKO him. It might depend on the pirate stats. I'm not entirely sure. That is a way you can do it. Now, Chad is very valuable. If he dies, it's really, really bad. So I understand not wanting to risk that either. In which case, what you can do is you can grab a unit you don't care about. You know, you got these two fighters over here. They're not very good, but they can take like 1 or 2 hits, especially with fort healing in between. So if you don't really care about their lives, you can take their items away. Maybe give them like 1 iron axe to maybe do some damage to the pirates if they get lucky. But just give Wade an iron axe, bring them over here, and let them counter these pirates for a while, and they'll be like occupied. And the benefit of this will come later, but you can understand that keeping these pirates busy over here instead of on the beach or on their way to the village while also fighting cavaliers can be a bit tricky. So that's one strategy I would suggest. If you're doing a Iron Man where you're willing to check some strategies in advance, I definitely recommend just checking the locations and then dropping these same units like on the exact spots where the pirate reinforcements are, or making sure that Chad can survive beforehand. Those are all viable, reasonable strategies, I think. I think that's a slight improvement to just having Shanna go over, because you'll see later there's some drawbacks to that. So you can see here from the positioning that he's kind of forced to go into the choke point strategy, because his units aren't really in range to take care of these calves. Normally, if they're all a little bit out here, then you have a chance to finish all these off before the next wave comes. But it does require some inaccurate hits to hit sometimes. Like Walt isn't very accurate, he does like no damage. Chad is very bad. Ellen cannot attack. Lou is very accurate, but you can expose him to more than 1 cavalier. It's very scary. I think he also gets doubled by some nomads. Lance and Alan do like, I don't know, like 6, 7, 8 damage with an Iron Lance at like 60 to 70 hit. Depends on their support level too. Roy does reasonable damage, but he's all the way up here. Deke does like 6 damage. Lot and Wade can one-shot with the halberd if they get lucky, but they get doubled in return if they use that, so it's very scary. And they have like 50 to 60 hit, I believe. And if you use an Iron Axe, they're slightly better off than Alan and Lance when they're fighting Lance Cavaliers. So overall, not the greatest options, but combined, they can barely get there, I think. One option you do have, if you were a little bit further out here, you can kill the 2 calves. And this really requires some planning, so I'm only saying that's trivial almost. If you kill the calves, you get them out of the way, and then you can put characters here, 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 and of course where the calf was, then you're surrounded with nomad. You don't have to kill him. Of course, I don't find it super valuable unless you're really making sure that you're getting the right people in these places, because if 4 characters can surround a nomad, they could probably kill him too. So unless it's like, for example, Lou standing right here and hitting the calf from here to help kill him, it doesn't really add a whole lot to be able to surround the nomad. But sometimes if you're just deliberate enough, like, I don't know, you're Don, then yeah, it can work out. Alright, so this is the formation that we ended up in at the end of the turn. The liberations in between are not very easy to show without having to skip around a lot, so this is just what we're going with. We're hunkering down, we're bunkering down. We're putting Boris up here. Again, it's a choke point. He didn't even attack, I think, with a javelin. He just keeps the Iron Lance equipped. Marcus is here, javelin equipped. Used the vulnerate to go back to full HP almost. I think he's from 20 to 30. And Deke is here to choke the points. So the 3 best defensive units are taking their choke points. Everyone else is just far behind enough that they can't get attacked by the nomad, but close enough to where they can reasonably get an attack in next turn if you want to break out, or at least go in and maybe get rescue dropped out. So good formation overall. We also visited Dorky Village with Murnus before it's no longer available because cav reinforcements come in. So that's also good. So here we go. Enemy phase. These 3 calves roll in, and here comes the first ones. And we'll see Deke starts getting his first bit of action, I believe. And Marcus gets a counter in here. You'll see that once again Hayden has equipped the javelin. And this turn I think it's a little bit worse than last turn. I already wasn't a big fan of it last turn because there's like Boars and Deke are choking points, and they have one range equipped. So this Nomad is never going to attack Marcus. He's just going to go straight for Deke, as you can see. So have Marcus equip the Shield Lance instead. Nothing probably would have changed for the Nomad, but he would have hit all these calves way harder. So there's no reason to equip the Javelin here. It just made him less accurate and do less damage. This is going to continue for a while. Hayden kind of refuses to use the Silver Lance a lot of the time. So I'm going to stop harping on about it now, but every time you see it, I don't know, imagine a Pitfall counter going up or something. So, Hayden has made himself a bit of a plan. What he wants to do is kill this Cavalier over here, get him out of here, and then kill this Nomad as well, because he figures these bridges are pretty good choke points for one-range enemies, so I can pretty much hold them off pretty well. Marcus can counter them and everything. Everyone can counter them, in fact. But these Nomads are really annoying, because every time I put someone next to the river, like if I want to heal with Ellen, or if I want to get some chip damage with Lou, these Nomads can kill them, or they can hit without being countered. So I want to kill this Nomad. I like it. It's not a bad strategy. The Nomad is weakened by that Javelin, fortunately. So, kill with the Silver Lance with Marcus is the plan. So we need to remove this Cavalier, who's also weakened. I think he took like one hit from Deke. Maybe another hit from the Javelin at some point, I don't know. But either way, I think he's figured out that, yeah, you can chip him to death and then kill him somehow. So we're going to go for that. So there's Lou chipping him down to 6, and that is exactly enough for Deke to get the kill with the Iron Sword. And he has 80 hit, it's pretty decent, so he gets the kill. And now Marcus can go for the Silver Lance. Clean kill with 75 damage, or 75 hit, but unfortunately, he misses. That sucks. You know, might expect me to go 75 hit, you shouldn't have relied on that, but it's FE6. You gotta try for some inaccurate strategies here, and it's not like he's dead in the water now. There are some problems for sure, but he's not dead in the water in a way that, like, hey, you're screwed. you missed the 75, now it's game over. Your Roy's gonna die, right? In fact, you can get through this without any deaths if you figure out the right moves. But what are the problems right now? What do you need to solve? Doesn't look super bad. The biggest threat right now, of course, is this choke point is open, so someone that can survive needs to go here. Or D squares, they work too in some ways. And Lou is in a spot where the Nomad can attack him, and I think he checked, and the Nomad I think has 10 speed and then Lou has 6. So the enemy will see that he can kill. So if Marcus stays here, that's fine, as long as someone else chokes his point, of course. But if Marcus is going to move over here to choke this point, because Deke already occupies this one, then Lou is in danger. There is an argument for not having to worry about that, and it's from a lesson that we've already learned in a previous episode, which is that one-range enemies will generally move before two-range enemies. So let's say we just move Marcus here through a rescue drop in the square that I put a square around. Let's say we just did that. There's a chance that Lou survives just fine, because what will probably happen is they will see that Deke has the worst parameters overall. He has weapon triangle disadvantage, or weapon triangle neutral, compared to units with lances like Boars and Marcus. So Kaz with either a sword or a lance will go for him almost always, especially because his HP and defense are similar or worse. If you heal him, you will not be in any danger. So the Cavalier, let's say this Cavalier moves first, he will go where Marcus is, like that, and then Nomad will no longer have a square to attack Lou from as long as we occupy this square as well. You see what I mean? So as long as one-range enemies move before two-range enemies, Lou is actually not in danger. Do you risk this if you're a semi-blind Iron Man player? No, you probably don't. You're probably like, okay, I need to get Lou to safety, I need to choke both points, I need to do some rescue drops. That's fine too. Let's see how he does that. Alright, so the moment has arrived where Hayden has decided, okay, I know what I'm going to do. He very cleverly looks like for all the units moves that he wants to do before he makes like any moves to them. So oftentimes I see players go, well, we're going to do this no matter what, right? Including me. They're going to be like, okay, I'm going to visit this village no matter what. I'm just going to do this. Or I'm going to do this accurate attack first because that's what I'm going to do no matter what. Which, you know, usually it works out. But sometimes it's worth to just hold off that move for 1 second because you can always do it later. You can always, you know, attack with Lou for 100 hit. You know what I mean? So you don't always have to do one move at a time. You can do like, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And once you figure that all out, you make your moves. So the problem he's facing is that he kind of has to move Marcus in the other choke point again. So either, let me get my pen out. So either Marcus has to go here or here. Wow, these are uglier than my usual. Marcus has to go like here or here. Nice M. And then if he goes in one of those spaces, then Lou needs to move out of the way. Like Lou needs to be rescue dropped somewhere else. And he has a couple of rescue dropper options, but they're not all created equal. The Cavaliers have the great properties. They can move in and move out, so they're probably going to be the one to move Marcus, because they don't want to stay where they're rescuing Marcus, whereas units that can rescue drop Lou are allowed to move almost wherever they want here. They can stay where they're rescuing, so someone like Lot and Wade and Chad and Walt and Roy, they can all rescue drop Lou to safety without endangering themselves. So very cleverly, Hayden has figured this out. Hey, I need to use the Cavs to move Marcus, and I need to use the others to move Lou. Also, he wants to re-equip Marcus, keep that in mind. Because right now he's a Silver Lance, and we know he doesn't like that. He wants to use the Javelin. I said I disagree, but he wants to do that. So he very cleverly goes like, okay, go here, trade the Javelin to the top, then rescue, and then go to the right square. It's very easy to get yourself like boxed out of the correct spots sometimes with these Kanto rescue drops. It's easy to forget where you're going to drop your units and where these units need to go. And your units kind of like get stuck in place in the spot they want to be, but it doesn't end up happening here, fortunately. But I've seen it gone wrong many times, including on my own streams. Boris moves on forward, and now we just need to move Lou, so Ellen can move here, heal Deke a little bit, why not? And of course Ellen is in danger of the Nomads, so we're going to rescue drop her out of the way, and we need to move Lou, right? Are we forgetting to move Lou now? Is that what we're doing? Or we're just not doing it? Okay, Shanna's going there for the village. Oh, maybe he checked that he survives, maybe that's it. Okay, I guess he just checked the speed of the Nomad and saw that Lou survives. Okay. Well, let's say Lou wouldn't survive, you know? Okay. So we're fine here. Deke gets a counterattack in. I think I was really worried about Deke getting a 2% crit, and then the next Nomad, next Cav could kill him. That's an issue, theoretically, but you can't have 100% reliability. So those kind of reliabilities I usually let slide. Don't worry about 2% crits that suffer from success if you can. So this is why these Nomads are so annoying, because they keep getting pings on your units like Lance and Allen. If they're in positions like that, Deke gets another free chip damage against him. Actually dodges, that's good. Alright, so another enemy phase survived, and now Clarina's on the field. She's going to march over. I think Hayden knows she doesn't get attacked as an NPC or as a blue unit, so we don't have to worry about her. But now we can get the village with Shanna, get the angelic rope out of the way. So this turn, I don't have too much to say on what you should do, because you can pretty much just hold the position as is, and it's fine. You don't have forever to do all this, because at some point you're going to get pirate reinforcements, and you're going to get cav reinforcements from the back on like turn 15. You're going to get Rutger to deal with. Those will happen eventually, but right now you don't really have much of a choice in breaking through. Like, you can't really break through here. You have to hold the choke points, because if you move like Marcus out of the way, it's just going to get so bad. So you're going to have to hold on tight and kill as efficiently as possible. Now here, Hayden is trying to do the same thing that he did last turn, which is remove a Cavalier in the way and then kill the Nomad that was harassing Deke from a ranged spot. It's probably even the same Nomad. So 14 HP left. We still do 17 damage. Nothing has changed here. And we're going to go for Silver Lance hit. And nothing has changed because Marcus misses again. I did not replay the same footage twice. This is Marcus missing another 75. Very unfortunate. It happens. It sucks. It's not, again, it's not the end of the world, but it's really annoying. It's really annoying for your positioning. Okay, so before this phase is over, one more smart thing I want to highlight here is a good use of Mernus. He has a Vulnerine on him, and Deke does not, so he trades him over, and then Mernus can Kanto to safety, because FE6 Mernus is goated like that. So, there you go. Gets a heal on Deke, because Ellen had to heal one of the Cavs this turn, and he only has one healer right now. So, good use of Mernus. Here come the Pirates. And here's Deke once again. This is where suffering from success becomes a real fear, because these enemies are weakened, but they'll still throw themselves at the weakest target you have, so they'll die. And then the next Cav can attack Deke, and if he just keeps on killing, then he can eventually be in danger, but Deke is too much bulk to die here, so it's going to be fine. I guess if both Nomads could attack him, then this could be a problem. But fortunately, there's only one that can really get to a square, because the other one is occupied by Marcus. This is probably a good time to mention some preparation you can do for this chapter to make it less painful than what this is, because this seems really painful right now. One of the things you can do to make it easier is train Marcus's axe rank to D. Make him use the iron axe and the hand axe and whatever you can in chapters 2 and 3. Chapter 1, you don't have any axes. You can even grind him a little bit on one of the bosses if you want to. If that doesn't feel like fair to you because you're grinding, you know, fair enough. Just use it against normal enemies, then maybe you get some kills. They'll get them enough weapon speed to get there if you're deliberate about it. Hayden specifically mentioned he didn't do things like that because he wanted it to feel like a blind playthrough, so he didn't want to do preparations like that. But if you're having trouble with this chapter, or you know you're going to have trouble with this chapter, and you want to make it easier on yourself, get into D axis, because I talked earlier that Lotta and Wade are very bad with the halberd. Marcus is so much better. I think he has like 10 more skill than they do, maybe more like 8 or something, but the point is his hit is way better, especially taking the 2-round system into account. He's more accurate, and even if he misses like one Cavalier, chances are he'll hit another, and that's just the Cavalier gone. Like normally you're 2-shotting them with the Silver Lance, and then you're just 1-shotting them, getting out of the way with 1 turn with the halberd. It's not, I don't like to use it very much on player phase because it's kind of unstable there, but if you're just trying your luck on enemy phase, I find it works out pretty well. Of course, against the sword calves, you still want to use the silver lance when you can, but against the lance calves, it's super nice to use Marcus with the halberd there. But it requires some investment. Even if you're not getting it for this chapter, having D axis for chapter 7 is heavily recommended because both the hammer and the halberd are highly useful there. The hammer can kill knights in 1 round, and the halberd kills all those javelin cavaliers. So definitely recommended to get it at some point at least, but if you're not getting it for this chapter, get it for chapter 7. Coming up is a bit of a weird spot for Shanna because she's in the middle of nowhere, but there's a lot of enemies that can reach the spots that she can go to from very far away because the Cavaliers have that much range. So the Nomads especially can reach like across forts with their bows, and of course they can one-shot or nearly one-shot Shanna. There's an archer right there, there's some calves right there, and there's pirates coming from the beach. So it's very hard to find a spot where Shanna is safe. He's going to find one, no problem. But it can be very easy to just lose your Pegasus Knight right here. With all the enemies going on at once, which is really what makes me wish that this game had a global range button, or at least a marking button like Tyrion Saga, to make that easier. But it doesn't, so keep that in mind. That's one of the troubles you run into if you send Shanna this way by herself, just to get the village. Now in the main part here, Hayden realizes, oh hey, Chad still has my halberd, I should probably trade that a lot. Something you're better off doing turn 1, but in this case it doesn't really matter, because what is Chad really going to do this turn, right? I don't think this is a great turn to risk the halberd on anything. The position is a bit too cramped to get Lot in there with the halberd at 1 range and then rescue him out again. Especially because some other rescues might be necessary for other things. Because I know Hayden wants to remove the Cavalier between Deke and Marcus once again to get another shot at Nomad. So I don't think that's going to happen this turn. If you're curious, the way I look at these is I watched them almost completely at like 1.5 speed sometimes with their commentary, and then sometimes I watch them one more time and then I record. So I don't remember everything, but I do remember roughly like this was going to be his plan. Either way, it's a good idea to trade the halberd off of Chad because, you know, if someone's going to die to a stray attack, it's probably Chad. It's not going to be someone who takes multiple hits, but Chad gets like OHKO'd by some enemies here. So it's good to get valuable items off of him if you think there's a chance he's going down. Just as a side note for Iron Mans like this. Anyway, Hayden, I think, decides that Marcus, after all, isn't going to attack this turn. He's going to get a vulnerary from someone. In this case, he doesn't have one on himself, so he's going to get one from Lance, heal himself up. He did some repositioning with Walt and Lou. That doesn't really need very much commentary from me. And then the main promise is Deke is very injured still, so we can mend him with Ellen, and then presumably get Ellen out of the way afterwards to prevent her from being sniped by a Nomad. And I guess Deke could attack these kind of spots I usually don't attack when you both have like a lot of health, but you just want to stay alive, so... And you don't really have a way to heal afterwards. You can heal like after attacking instead of before, because he was at 4 HP. I want to heal Lance as well, because he took some hits from a Nomad, I think, so make sure he's at near full health. It might seem like, okay, there's not much point in healing him now, because like he's not going to see any combat, but in the future he might want to attack, and in that case it's good that he's healed up, so preemptively healing is good. One thing I think I remember Hayden overlooking this turn is Chlorine. You need to put Roy in range of Chlorine so that Chlorine can talk to him instead of vice versa. It's one of the few recruitments where the enemy or the NPC actually talks to you. But you want to put Roy somewhere where he cannot be reached by that Nomad or by like a Cavalier. Chlorine can walk through your units because she's an NPC. So what you can do is put Roy in a spot like, say, I think Chlorine can reach the forest behind Boars. If not, you can put Boars one forward, put Roy in a forest, and then Chlorine can easily get to him. And remember, you don't have to be afraid of Chlorine getting attacked because the enemies don't attack Chlorine in this chapter, except the reinforcements and the boss. Unfortunately though, he moves Roy one down, and that means that Chlorine is going to stay an NPC for this turn. And as an NPC, Chlorine does not heal your units or anything. She's just completely focused on walking to Roy. So that's a delay on recruitment. There's the pirates. They're going to lock off the beach a little bit. Kaz move forward to make it even tougher for Shanna to escape. There probably are squares, but it's going to be a little tough. And yeah, Deke doing 4 damage is not going to make progress very fast. And since Marcus didn't attack this turn, essentially Hayden didn't really get anywhere. Like, he stayed alive, and that's good. That's the job you want to do. But those reinforcements are looping. They will come eventually. And also with Marcus, again, using the Javelin, that's another, like, 10 points of damage wasted. I guess against the Silver Sword, or the Iron Sword guys, it's not as bad. But time is ticking, as some would say. Now here's actually a kind of a funny thing that I should probably give him credit for. He made sure that all the people this Nomad could attack had 2 range equipped. It was quite a feat because Deke is locked off since the Nomad is in the way here. The other Nomad, I mean. Marcus has a Javelin, Alan has a Javelin, and Boris has a Javelin. So the Nomad actually was going to get countered. Unfortunately, that was like a 49 hit that a Javelin had. I think it connected, but I don't know if it was worth the payoff of like sacrificing every other strong 1 range you could have had against the Cavaliers with Marcus. But, you know, it's not like that one turn where Marcus took a Javelin and the guy was like, okay, I'll just attack Deke instead at 2 range. So I'm going to give some credit for that, but I don't think it was worth it still. And yeah, you can see Shanna is like about to get cornered completely. There's not a whole lot of places she can go. There are some places, but in these spots, usually my worry is not, okay, can I get Shanna to a safe square this turn? My worry is, can I put Shanna in a square where next turn I can still put her in a safe spot? Because imagine if you move her like a little bit down and to the right, like two right, 1 down. It's like, I think what I saw from these enemies, I think these 2 squares are safe over here. So like you put her in one of these 2 squares. Definitely a possibility. But what if the pirate just moves like a little bit like this, and then, or maybe he moves like that, right? And maybe the archer moves like here or something. Then there's not a lot of safe. Like, you have to like retreat back or something. It gets very awkward very soon. So usually I find that worrisome when I look at that. I don't have a great solution for you if you're in this spot. You just have to like move back and hope that it works out. There are like funny manipulations where you can do this intentionally. I think that's actually going to come up. I'm going to mention that when it comes up. You can actually manipulate the AI in this chapter with Shanna a lot. I linked a Volt solo on my channel a while back that shows this off very well. And I think Hayden is going to do a little bit of that accidentally. Something else I want to mention about this spot is Shanna has the Angelic Robe. If you're worried that you might not be able to get Shanna to safety from this spot, but you do want the Angelic Robe, like just to secure that, you can give Shanna 5 items that you don't care as much about. And if she dies, well, shit, you tried your best, but she might die. But at least you'll be able to send the robe to Convoy. You can save that for future chapters. That is something you can do. You can also give her the robe, like make her use it so she survives. I guess that's also an option. I'm not sure if they increase max HP in this game or not, but you know, just throwing it out there as a funny option. You can really see very well in this spot why eliminating the Nomads is so tempting. Honestly, like, not a bad play. I'm saying it like it is a bad play, but I can see why. Because this Nomad is in a very, very annoying position. This guy over here. He's in a spot where if you move someone to attack him from, say, from above, like from here, I am very good at drawing arrows, as you can see. Like, if you move Boars there and attack, like, that's great, you get an attack in, but you also expose Boars to potentially 3 enemies, which I'm not sure if he survived or not. It depends on the enemy type and Boars' defense at this point. Or if you use like someone like Alan or Lance, their durability is probably dubious. You have to like attack and maybe rescue drop them out. There's not many people that want to attack a Nomad at 2 range. Like Lou can probably do it if he's finishing him off, but other than that, you don't really want to throw a Javelin from this spot. It's super awkward. So definitely understandable to try and kill the Nomads, especially when they give you a chance like this one. Okay, so Hayden whips out the Silver Lance and kills the Sword Cavalier. I think that's the only one he could kill, and generally if you were able to like get a kill without getting countered, I think that's good. I like to focus the Lance Cavaliers when I can, because my characters generally do less damage against them, since most of my units are using swords or lances, so it makes sense to eliminate those first. Whereas the sword guys, they're pretty easy to eliminate. Again, remember how Roy does more damage to them. Yeah, Roy can't talk to Clarion, unfortunately, so that's she's going to be off the table for this turn. So, but in this case, I think it's fine to finish off 1 Cavalier just to get him like out of your hair. I just think if you don't kill that Cavalier, then he probably is going to kill himself on enemy phase. And what you could do is like kill, like if you're not killing another enemy, you could like hit a Lance Cavalier, and then next turn they might both die on enemy phase. That is something you can do. If you remember last episode, there was that spot where Bopper was trying to kill like Mage with Sarah, and he like finished one off instead of weakening another one that was like being 2-shot. That kind of stuff. Except here, it's a situation where it might actually matter. So I think it might have been better to actually attack a lance cav here, but I understand why you would attack the sword cav. And of course, if Marcus's like survivability is endangered, then you wouldn't do that. It depends on how much damage you're taking in return. In this case, though, I think Marcus would have been safe. Alright, another turn on enemy phase, and we have another turn on enemy phase, and we have Rutger. Excuse the blur, that's just him blurring some privacy-related things. That's not your screen fucking up, that's in the video. But we can still kind of see what's going on, right? Deke is doing 4 damage, nothing new. And then Marcus still with a javelin. He trade equipped away the silver lance, unfortunately. So he can use the javelin on enemy phase. Let's see what the nomad does this turn. I think the bottom nomad is going to go for Deke. And the top one has been forced to like get counterattacked again. But you can see Alan's hit rate is so bad that like I think so far he missed one and he hit one. So 1 for 1, I guess. It's not terrible. And here's where the big problems start appearing because you're choke pointing, right? So you have Clarine now. I'm going to look for a better screenshot of this part. Okay, I don't really have one because of the blur, so you have to excuse it for a moment. But you roughly remember what's going on, right? You can see where Marcus and Deke and Boris are. That's the most important part. So we have this pirate coming up at the bottom here. That's going to make things very awkward because at this point it was still, like up until this point it was very safe to frontline with lance users. You can throw someone like Boris or Marcus with a lance out here. They'd probably be fine. But then suddenly they're going to get hit by this pirate for like, well, Marcus gets like 4 hit killed by pirates, I think, if he's using a lance, maybe even 3 hit killed. But that's like a single pirate is going to 4 hit kill him, that's going to be fine. But he's going to take more damage is the point. It's going to get a bit more dangerous. And also from the left side, we have Rutger and 3 other enemies coming in from the side. So things are going to get dicey up in this choke point. So he's weakened the cav in front of Deke. And unfortunately, if Deke attacked now, again, he's in danger of being killed. If he misses, he dies. And I think I remember Hayden saying like, yeah, we have to YOLO this, we have to attack here, which I'm not sure about because Ellen and Clarine are right here. He can potentially heal Deke both before and after he attacks. This is going to take a fair amount of rescue dropping if he does. But yeah, he goes for 62. Fortunately, gets it this time. Marcus really rolled all the bad RNs earlier when he was missing with the Silver Lance twice against that Nomad. But fortunately, it pays off here. Because like, let's see how he like, what does he do afterwards, right? You heal, like usual, with the mend. Equip the Iron Sword is probably good. Better accuracy on enemy phase. I think I was afraid of like getting a crit and suffering from success. I don't think that's a real danger with Deke here, but sure. Yeah, rescue drop Ellen out. So I'm not sure why you wouldn't do this beforehand. And then you hit with Deke, and like, yeah, if you miss, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be lower on HP, but at least his chances of survival are still better. And you have Clarine potentially as an option. Clarine can also be rescue dropped by a lot of enemies, or by a lot of player units with like not super high con, like Roy, Chad, I think, Wolt. I'm not sure if all those can get her. Like Lou might not be able to, but you get the point, right? But instead we're hitting Lou, who I think took like, what? I think he leveled up HP or something. I think he had a whole lot of damage on him. Alright, but yeah, now we have enemy phase coming up. This turn is not much of a danger, but Rutger and 2 fighters will be in range next turn, and the fighters and the pirates will make things much more awkward. Like, this is why Marcus has an Iron Sword equipped right now, which I think is the right weapon for him, just to avoid getting hand-axed by that guy. The Cavalier and the Nomad will have Deke to attack anyway, so it's not like you get to counter with the Silver Lance either way. So I think that was probably the right call to use the Iron Sword here. Marcus's weapon selection on enemy phase is always super interesting in spots like this, when there's so many different enemies about to get to him. And when you have a character that can use swords, lances, and axes, there is always a right choice, but figuring out which it is one of the most important, or one of the most interesting aspects of the game to me. It's also important, but it's also interesting. Okay, so because this turn Marcus was a bit low on HP to begin with, I think more enemies went for him than for Deke. So Luke could potentially have been in danger if he was there. But yeah, here you can see Shanna surrounded by a bunch of pirates that she doesn't want to fight, but she kind of wants to get back to the main squad where she's safe. She gets 2-shot, which is not terrible. You could, if you wanted to, you could fly right and just accept the fact I'm going to get hit by one pirate, but what if another one pops out of the fort, right? I think that's what he's afraid of. But if you fight one and you get through, then you're golden. Whereas if you try to avoid them all and you end up being surrounded and you're dead, well, that's worse, isn't it? So you could try and take the risk over to C. But if you're afraid of another spider spawning, if you pay attention to where they spawn, you can potentially like block them no matter what. Like if you saw them spawn earlier on the map, and you saw them spawn here, you can go on that spot and the next turn you just fly up here and you're safe. Or if you saw them spawn here instead, you can do the same thing. But that requires you to A, memorize what they did, and B, be very confident that you did memorize, because if you got it wrong, you're probably going to die. But that is something you can do. Hayden instead decides, I'm not going to deal with all these enemies right here. I see the left side of the map is kind of quiet. I'm going to fly my Shanna over there. Can't blame him for that one. And now here, this is a really difficult part. You have so many different enemies coming at you that it's really hard to keep track of what's going to attack you in the next turn. You know you can choke the points, but what you really want to avoid here is the fact that Rutger is right there. And it's kind of like with those Pegasus Knights, or with the Pegasus Knight movement earlier. I know I can put myself in a spot where I'm safe this turn, where I'm probably not going to die. But if next turn I end up with all these enemies like standing around here, with Rutger like right in the middle, like let's say Rutger ends up here next turn, or he's probably going to be like here, and there's like a bunch of enemies around him. There's no way you're going to kill like the 2 enemies required to get to Rutger with Clarine, and then recruit him, and then still be safe on enemy phase. Like it's really hard to even kill those enemies in the first place, especially if there's 2 calves in the way. They might move first. I don't know. Fighters, pirates probably kind of hard to kill too. I think the pirates are annoyingly fast in this chapter. So what happens then is you have to still hold the choke points, but know that anytime a spot opens up, there's a chance Rutger just comes up and doubles one of the units with the killing edge. That would be bad, especially if it's Roy or something like that. But even someone like Marcus or Alan or Deke, they don't want to fight Rutger at all. So that's a very scary prospect. So what you want to do probably, well, one thing you can try to make use of is Clarine, because most of the enemies won't attack her, but some enemies do, and that's the scary part. The pirate will attack her, the fighter, and I think the archer that's with Rutger and the other fighter, they will attack her also. So even Clarine is not a safe wall against this group right here. It's a very diverse group. You got 2 ranged enemies, you got cavaliers that were initially here, and then you got axe fighters. So there's no one unit that wants to take hits from all these enemies. Like the best defensive unit you have is like Marcus with an iron sword. He's not gonna kill them very quickly. So it's not a great spot, but at least you're probably not getting attacked by Rutger this turn. Let's see what happens. Alright, so Marcus and Deke retreated, got healed to full, make sure that all the healers are safe. We're hunkering down. We're bunkering down. We're keeping these exits sealed. And, you know, if we face like 5,000 enemies, we better make sure only one of them can attack us at the same time. I gotta check if Lou is not in danger from this hand axe pirate, or these nomads. If he is, then we just rescue him away. You know, the strategy we've been doing for the past couple turns. And it might work. One thing we gotta pay attention to is, when does Rutger move? If Rutger moves first, then we want to make sure we're not in range of him. If Rutger doesn't move first, if the other enemies move first, then we want to make sure that these enemies go in front of our characters, and then Rutger can't reach us. And then hopefully he moves in a way that we can maybe recruit him and then get to safety. Clarine can't canto after recruiting Rutger, so that is something that we can keep in mind. If Rutger's close to us, Clarine can walk in and out without being in too much danger. She might even be able to stay on the front lines if we can get rid of the pirates and the reinforcement with Rutger. Maybe some of the enemies don't one-shot her, and we can risk something with her. So there are outs here. There are ways to get through this safely. Not sure what turn counter we're on, but I do know at some point we get calves from the back and then we really want to get out of here. So we really want to be done by then. So there's a time that we have to hit. We don't want to be too fast because then we overextend and die, but we don't want to be too slow because then we get overrun by cavalry reinforcements. Very tricky. Very good map design though, in a way. Alright, here comes the enemy phase. And the pirates seem to be the ones moving first. Good to keep in mind. Rutger moves after the pirates, so I think that means reinforcements, on this map at least, like to move first. So we can take advantage of that. We can't really frontline with Clarine, is that what that means? But this presents an opportunity. Marcus is using the javelin. I'm not sure why he chose to go with the javelin. I think the iron sword would have been better in this case. I mean, it's easy to say when he's being attacked by an axe fighter, but it would have been really convenient here. Fortunately, get an 8% crit to get rid of this guy. So that means we're probably going to get another enemy in our way. This guy goes for Deke. It means there's a chance we end up with a true range enemy just standing in Marcus's face doing absolutely nothing. That's always funny when it happens. That might also be an opportunity to get rid of him, like maybe with a Silver Lance. So like Silver Lance plus loot chip. But let's see if that actually happens before we cry victory. That one's going to attack at range, of course. There's a chance they'll go for Boars instead, but Marcus is on 19 HP. I think Boars is at full HP and has at least as much defense. So yeah, they go for Boars anyway. Interesting. Maybe he doubles? That might be why. Because I think they have roughly the same defense, but Marcus was at lower HP. Interesting. Well, here we are. We caught a break. There's no enemy in front of Marcus. Kareen, as long as we can move Marcus out of the way first. No, actually we might not need to. It depends on how many squares we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so if Marcus wasn't here, then Kareen could canto upwards, and as long as there's no pirates with hand axes in range, we could probably block her off. The awkward part is that we kind of want Kareen where Marcus is right now. We don't want her here. But Marcus, we don't want to move him first. We want to move him like in front of Kareen afterwards. But maybe we can choke the point with Rutger. Anyway, there are options here. There's definitely options. And then for the rest of it, just choke, I guess. One of the great advantages of being proactive in this map, and I think I alluded to this earlier, is if you can remove this whole rubble and then confront Rutger like on the open fields instead of here. If you can isolate these pirates on the beach, they'll keep finding you on the beach. As long as you only give him like Deke as a target and he's like down on the beach, they can't interfere with the rest of the map, and that makes it so much easier to do this. Instead, you're forced to fight this battle against all enemies at once, basically, which it's like a drawback of a choke point, honestly. The other annoying point is that the pirates can cross water. Like you see right here, he's standing on a river tile. So you can't even use the choke points as like full holds anymore. You can still hold them off despite the river walking, because they can walk across the river, but they can't walk a lot of tiles on rivers. I think they cost like 3 move for them to cross, maybe 4. So they can like move on a river. But if you put like maybe like one of the calves with a sword right next to Deke here, they're still going to have a lot of trouble getting past you, especially because they want to attack every turn. So there are ways to make sure that they can't cross the river, but it does get a bit more dicey. So if I had to guess what we're doing here, it's probably recruit Rutger, leave Kareen in place, unfortunately, for now, and then just rescue drop her out with, say, Marcus, and then keep the choke point holders as they are. Alternatively, have Rutger hold the choke point instead, because there are a lot of axe fighters, and he's probably not going to die from them. He could suffer from success if he fights too many of them. He kills them all with Killing Edge, but it's not super likely to happen that way. Boars is probably doing fine where he is. He's not in range of any axe fighters, so doesn't look super bad, but they're, depending on how you do it, you can like risk some chances of death, and that's not very good. And of course, someone's got to block the pirate next to Deke, but I already said that. Okay, it looks like we're doing something slightly different. Of course, Marcus does need to be healed. That is fair. So Hayden is considering healing Marcus instead with the mend. That's fair. And then Marcus is going to kill the Nomad. That's interesting. I still do like the idea of getting rid of the Nomads because they are a threat. Not to Kareen specifically. I guess that means that someone else is taking over the choke point. I guess Rutger's doing it. Because Boars is not very good against these pirates and fighters. You don't want him there. Of course, now you can have Kareen come in and canto upwards if you want to. Because Marcus is out of the way. And this other Nomad is very low. So Walt or Luke can kill him, I guess. A little risky because if Luke misses here, there's a lot of demand for rescue dropping all of a sudden. But again, Nomads are super annoying for choke point holding, so might as well try. And I mean, 89 is like, what, 95-ish real hits, so most of the time this is the right move. But now both Ellen and Luke probably have to go, and you want Kareen there. So there's a lot of people that don't want to be in this place where they are right now. Boars cleans up Lou and drops him. Sometimes when you're doing these like rescue chain drops, sometimes you might have to leave someone like Lou in the saddlebags just to have enough people to rescue out whoever's being held. But I guess with the way it is, it's not too bad. Because if Kareen goes there, you can kind of protect her. As long as the pirates can't like walk across the river, she's fine. I think he checked that range earlier. Rutger can kill the archer, and then there shouldn't be any ranged enemies left, just some water walkers, so that means Ellen doesn't have to be rescue dropped, if I did the square counting correctly. And also, if you eliminate like almost everything but the pirates, then Rutger becomes that much safer. So I do like this approach. That calf probably isn't dying. If I had to guess, he probably 2 shots, maybe 3 shots Rutger. These reinforcement pirates don't have harpment bonuses. Or rather, they have harpment bonuses, but they don't have the extra harpment bonuses that all enemies get between chapters 1 and I think it's 5. Yeah, 5. Which means that they're a lot weaker than what you might be used to. And so you can actually one round them with the Iron Blade. That's pretty neat. So it looks like Hayden's decided, yep, Ellen needs to get out of here after all. I think Rutger will probably end up killing the pirate or the archer, so I'm not sure why this is necessary now. Unless the pirate can actually reach that tile. The pirate that's below the cavalier. In that case, I get it. Chlorine's getting out. Makes me think Rutger might be moving up and away from the enemies. I guess maybe the concern is that Rutger will use too many killing energies if he does that. Because he'll use 2 on the archer probably, and then like 4 times 2 more on the pirates, barring any first hit crits. I get that. Oh, looks like we're going for that anyway. I guess maybe one of the pirates could have reached Ellen. I might have missed that. Okay, yeah, that guy can reach like everything. Hold up, I forgot he has a hand axe and he has that much move. Okay, so yeah, that's legit. That's legit. I think there might still been. Yeah, there's a slight screw up here because he still reaches Ellen even though she was rescue dropped out. So this is why he likes to take his time to see where they can go, because apparently he didn't drop these units far enough. Chlorine's in range and Ellen is in range here. Chad can rescue 1, so pick your maiden, I guess. I think Lou survives, so he doesn't have to be dropped out. But yeah, that's a slight screw up. But you know, most of the time Hayden is doing a perfect job of like seeing where the enemies can move and then making decisions. So I can't really be mad at him for screwing up this one time. I mean, if you're going to save one of these 2 units and the other one's going to have a chance of death, you save Chlorine every time, right? Because she's just a better version of Ellen for the most part. Alternatively, maybe you can get Lot and Chad in a way that neither of them are in danger. They do both exist. You can also rescue both without dropping them. It sucks that they won't have an action available next turn, but it's better than them dying, not having an action available for the rest of the game, right? So it looks like Lot is on the way to pick up Ellen. Yeah, and then Chad can't rescue Chlorine. Maybe he can get in a way and survive the enemy attack. It's the only other solution I can see at this point. I would probably... I don't know if I'd sacrifice Chlorine over Chad. That's a difficult question. Okay, Rutger starts off getting hit by a pirate. That's not good. Because you can see he's getting 3 shot. And the Cavalier will definitely go for him if he sees a chance. Goes for Chad. Chad survives. That's good. This guy is never hitting Rutger. I think he has animations on solo, which is why you don't see his animations. That one's going for Marcus, interestingly enough. Even though he was at much higher HP. I guess he values Weapon Triangle that much. Well, that's an easy kill for sure. Again, this guy's reinforcement, so no extra heart mode levels. Which means easy to double. And then Rutger fights his last cav, but he's no longer in danger. Okay. Got build out there. A little bit. And a couple more calves. One going for Shanna. But none of these have javelins, so there will only be one enemy attacking Shanna here. And she doesn't do much damage in return, but at least she's surviving multiple hits. You might have a Vuln on her as well. Okay, that archer, yeah, that was a problem right there. Hold up. Yeah, that's not fun, is it? That's not fun, is it? So basically this entire region is like shut off by this one archer here, and then this entire region is shut off by this one archer here. So I'm curious how he'll find his way out. Let me see if there's anything else happening before this. Okay, so I do like this idea, moving Rutger towards the forest. Rutger doesn't join with a Vuln, but you can heal him first. And then he can be keeping the pirates on the beach, like I've said earlier. But it looks like now we're going to try and solve the Shanna problem first. Not sure if there is one. Oh, actually, oh, you can fly over the lake. Clever. Yeah, of course. I had a blind spot there. Yeah, that works. Fly over the lake. That might be the only solution. I think you can't outrace these archers by enough tiles. So just make very much sure that there's no like space they can attack you at 2 range from. Sometimes a little deceptive, but yeah, there you go. That is safe for now. And now what will happen is these enemies will not see that they can that they're close to Shanna. They just don't see her anymore. They don't want to wait around for her to come back on a tile they can reach. So they'll go for the right-handed group now. They'll run away from Shanna. Yeah, so here you have your entire army to gank 2 pirates, basically. That shouldn't be a big problem. And then hopefully he will realize that, hey, I need to keep the rest of the pirates contained on the beach. So I'm going to send Rutger or Deke or even Roy or Chad there to sit in the forest and just never get hit, basically. Shouldn't be too complicated. Yeah, so the first one was ganked by a bunch of scrubs, and now Deke is coming in. This would have been an okay opportunity, I think, to trade one of Deke's swords to Rutger, because I get the sense that he wants Rutger to go down to the beach, and you don't really want to use the killing edge on these generic pirates. Yeah, so Deke could have just traded to Rutger just now. He could have already gone adjacent and full move. And now Rutger won't be at the beach, because the pirates are further away than that. Could have been in the forest this turn, but a bit of an oversight there. And now I guess it's time to divide your attention between taking care of the pirates, taking care of the calves, and eventually the boss ASAP before you get overrun by the cavalry reinforcements. As I said, I think a couple times before, I think Deke is the best for the pirates because he's not very good against the other enemies compared to Rutger and Marcus, so I'd send Marcus and Rutger towards the boss, personally. And of course, Roy needs to be near the boss as well, so you can't use him to just fight off the pirates. The other characters don't matter nearly as much, like, as long as they're safe, it doesn't really matter where they go. Obviously, you want to drop units, especially your healers. Healer's not very useful at the beach because it'll be too easy for them to get attacked by the pirates, but sending them towards the boss is fine, especially Clarine because she's more mobile. So yeah, more pirates coming in, lots of easy XP for whoever wants it. Preferably you fight these pirates on the forest so they have almost no chance to hit you, but as you can see, Rutger doesn't need the forest to have good avoid rates. It's just nice. The hand axe guys are a little awkward because they'll always be diagonal to a forest, so you can't attack them at one range. What you can do is just like ignore them. Just stand in the forest, kill all the one range enemies, and then once they're all dead, then you go out to get up the forest to fight the hand axe guys. But yeah, the other calves moving upwards means you'll probably want to meet them with Marcus, almost like you can do turn 1. It's kind of the same pattern. But yep, easy kills so far. I think this is on a forest, so now they have like no hit rate on them. Good first level up. No strength, but that's okay. You can't expect strength on Rutger every time. Crossing this pirate's range for units like Ellen kind of dicey, but with a rescue job you can get away with it. It's a good time to like start thinking, okay, do I want to prioritize Clarine or Ellen, or do I care about healer prioritization at all for long term? Like, which healers am I training? Clarine is better, but sometimes you want to use Ellen just for variety, right? Deke can certainly help out, expedite this a little bit. I think that's fine. It's not urgent, but by killing this pirate, you open up more spots for your other units to move through. Marcus can attack the Cavalier on the left using the Silver Lance. Alternatively, you can bait him into your range with your Silver Lance. Either way, you should use Silver here, just to speed it up. There's no reason not to. But as I promised, I'm not ranting about that again. Iron Lance probably fine too. There's a lot of people in range who can attack the guy. If you really don't want to use the Silver Lance, I guess that's acceptable. Just don't use the Javelin. Yeah, that's fine. I think I said before, the calves have a C support with each other, at the very least, so what you might want to do is put them as close to the enemy as possible so that when they can get the support bonus in for both attacks. Right now, if the cav ends up left of Marcus, then the upper cav has to attack first to get the support bonus. Just a minor optimization, but their hit rates are kind of cringe, so I do like using those support bonuses whenever possible. And there's the cav reinforcements. Okay, I didn't know they were going to pop up this turn, but that's a problem. A slight problem with that. Chad's going to take a hit here. Somehow managed to survive, fortunately. Again, no massive heart bonuses for the calves. Merlin is about to bite it. That is unfortunate. You don't need them anymore. You've already got all the items you can get in this chapter, but suddenly there's more things to defend. And Ellen takes a hand axe. I think he calculated that one. Oh, this gun is a javelin. Oh, that's bad. Oh, I forgot about that part. Oh no, not Chad. This is so sad. That is a loss of a lot of treasure in the next couple chapters. You only get a new thief in chapter 8. So that means you miss out on all the treasure in chapter 6. Suddenly, the conservation of the Silver Lance was justified if you know that Chad was going to die. Because now you're not getting that chapter 6 Silver Lance. That sucks. That is unfortunate. I actually forgot that one of them has a javelin. It could attack like that. I think Hayden either didn't know these calves were going to pop up, or he was... whatchamacallit. Or he wasn't sure that they were going to pop up this turn, or didn't know they had a javelin. Either way, a Chad and a Myrnus were blundered. And now we're being attacked from 3 sides. We're being attacked from the calves from here, from the pirates from here, and from the front from here. Fortunately, attacking these guys on this front means you're probably not in range of the pirates, and you can just contain them on the beach. Just one of Deacon Rutger just needs to kill this pirate, and you're basically safe, because these guys, again, they can't reach very far, so you don't have to worry about them too much. The calves, on the other hand, you can choke point them the way we have been choking them, making use of the bridges. I would probably leave Lot and Wade on the bridges in this situation, because they are sort of expendable. You don't need to master this chapter. They can probably survive 1 round, maybe 2 rounds if you're lucky. And then if they are alive after that, great. They block another cast for another turn. If not, well, shucks, but at least your units got to advance. And then you guys just rush the boss down. Hopefully hit him every time that you try to hit him with like the Silver Lance, Rutger's Killing Edge. That should be the most reliable way of doing it. And then just hope that works out. Because I don't think any unit can handle these calves, like actually kill them reliably. We'll see about that though. Alright, looks like Hayden agrees with me, as he puts, I think it was Wade, on the bridge. He also moved Boars towards the calves, but he wasn't able to like quite reach the choke point with his 4 move. And now we're going to chip this calf to death. Roy is 1 short here with the rapier after a loot chip, but fortunately Wolt can make up the difference here with a nice 69. Then the calf is gone. I saw that Rutger doesn't one round the archer unless he gets a killing edge crit. At least I think I saw him do 7 times 2 to like a 20 something HP. That's probably something you have to do. Well, you don't have to if you hit him with Lance and Allen maybe. And then you can save some killing edge uses. You do get another killing edge even without chat. It's a chapter 7 village, so I wouldn't worry too much about conserving that. Looks like Deke is going to take care of the pirates here. I approve of that. You probably want him to move down as far as possible if he can, without, you know, giving away the beach to the pirates, because that way they will keep him close to the coastline. And that leaves Lot and Wade with more time before they get ambushed by the other pirates. Marcus doubles the archers as well, from what I can see, so there are like safe ways to dispose of them if you're willing to use some expensive weapons. Looks like Hayden is not. So I think that means that both Allen and Lance have to connect like an Iron Lance hit on this archer. And then they can kill. Something like that, because it's pretty close. And like the first one has to attack outside of support range now. Okay, so this is a hit. I think I saw Lance Allen do 5 before supports. Or yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Nope, still missed. Never lucky. Never lucky. I guess just leave him alive, kill the other one with the Silver Lance. Or surround with Chlorine, that works too. That's smart. I like that. Oh, Marcus doesn't double this one. That is unfortunate. Doubles the other one though. Well, this... I think the set of archers was around from the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, so you can leave Chlorine in range if you know. It's like we're killing off the archer. It's like I said at the beginning with the surrounding with the Nomad, like if you can surround a Nomad with 4 tiles, you can probably kill him as well, so it's not... It seems weird to kill the one that's not going to be a threat anyway, but I mean, if you got 4 people surrounding him anyway, you might as well kill him. But yeah, Chlorine cannot stay in range of these calves, like, because they're reinforcements, so they will attack her. So she should probably go somewhere just to heal someone for fun. There's no real purpose for her other than that this turn. Everyone is at full health, basically. Chlorine can heal Ellen. Let her take another hit, if need be. If somehow Wade or Lot dies this turn, then Walt and Ellen are in serious trouble. Shanna is no longer trapped because the archers are gone, so she can go somewhere else. Distracting a calf at the bottom seems worth, because that guy is gonna delay how quickly you can face Eric safely. So I like this move. Maybe even want to distract both calves if you can. Keep him guessing. Not sure if that's feasible with the amount of villains he has left, but that is something you can try looking into. Yeah, so Boris is not choking a point, but he is distracting these enemies. Not sure how useful that'll be, because they might have moved that way anyway. It looks like he cannot be attacked by any more. Wade, like I said, is surviving. He's not getting doubled because he's not using the halberd. There was a consideration about using the halberd in this position, which I thought was kind of funny. You can definitely dispose of these calves. The question is, do you want to get doubled in return if you miss? Yeah, it looks like the answer to that was no. But despite what has already happened, I think this recovery is going quite okay. This javelin is going to be annoying, but oh, that hit. Unlucky. Now I think Lotta has a pretty good chance of dying, but hopefully everyone else can get away. So there's Shanna. Yeah, this Iron Sword Cav, she can basically 1v1 him for the rest of the chapter. And that's good, because that's one less enemy that can attack your other units up there. The other archer runs up, hits you for nothing. You can literally just have this archer be surrounded by 3 scrubs for a turn if you want to. Not worry about killing him. Like, it can be your healers. Of course, the moment that the fighters die, they will be in danger. So, probably prefer to just kill that archer. But move the most valuable units towards the boss. Like, it's basically an escape chapter at this point. I think the moment you approach the boss, that last archer starts moving, so he's going to have to die as well. Hopefully Marcus can double him. This is a nail-biting finish, and honestly. Like, I thought it looked great the moment Rutger was recruited, then it got, like, spiraled out of control again. Okay, doesn't double that cav. But you can tooth kill him. If you don't leave anyone else in range of that calves, he will suicide into Marcus. With the silver. Okay, that works. You can also leave people in his range, and then he's going to get hit by this, and then the next, like, Iron Lance that counters him on the enemy phase, or the Rapier from Roy, and then he's probably just easy to kill next turn. Ooh, I don't know about healing lots. That doesn't seem like a good move here. Oh, they have a Vuln on them. They both have Vulns on them. Okay, that's great. I mean, if they have that, they might as well use it to stay alive for longer, right? One turn might make the difference here. I don't think I would use Lou to help weaken these guys. It'd be great if that one cav was gone so that Boris could stand in the choke points, but I don't think it's worth using Lou for. Not that Lou is overly important against the boss, but that one little bit of chip damage could make a difference, and you don't want Lou to die here. Especially because Chad is already dead, so you want someone to recruit Ray later. That's like a minor thing at this point, I guess. This is just about surviving. Alright, Hayden has decided I'm going to kill this archer with Lou's help, which I like a lot more. Lou is someone you want to be moving left, you want to kill this archer. This works. Yeah, moving Shanna up could also work. Oh, this is also a good combo. I was going to be like, you can move Shanna up to like help kill the archer next turn, and then other people could do other things. I like this too. Rutger gets the kill. You could now use the Cavaliers to rescue drop Rutger closer to the boss. Or use the Cavs to move Roy closer to the boss to seize a bit sooner. But I think you want to prioritize killing the boss before you worry about seizing. Okay, he's doing it. He's actually rescue dropping Rutger. I like it. I like it. Please drop him in a way that he can reach next turn at close range. That's ideal. I think that's the right square to do it with. That's good. And yeah, Boris, I'm sorry dude, but this is going to be your last stand here. If you make sure he doesn't move like away from the cav, then you're making sure that they don't get closer to like Walt and Clarine, who can, I think, just barely get away from the cav range this turn. In fact, I think what you could even do is have move Boris further upwards. But I don't think it'll make a difference. Because if you move him further up, then the cav has to chase him down, they'll be further away from the rest of the units, right? That's the way I see it. Now he just has to stay where he is. He'll probably even move closer to you because of this. Because enemies like to move. Even if they can already attack from their current position, they love to move a little bit. Makes them feel productive, I guess. But yeah, just vault up these fighters, or don't even attack. Just sit there, hold the bridge. That's your job. You may die here, but that's a sacrifice we're willing to make. No bolts, you can't help them. They're lost to us. Go home. Run, Walt, run. Run in Clarine's saddlebacks if you have to. Just run away. Yes, that's it. Take care of yourself. The fighters' sacrifices will be remembered forever now. Such heroes. Well, they never promote the heroes, but you know what I mean, right? Yep, that's all you can do. Just end turn. All good. Deke fights a couple more guys at the beach. See, he's doing his job admirably. I like this. Yeah, see, that cav moved a little bit. He moved one left, one down. That's okay. Boris is actually one who won this guy. He'll probably get attacked again by something, though. Oh, Pirate gets a forest and gets the hand axe. That's not good, because now he can reach your other units. That's why I wanted Deke to move further down. And I think if he hadn't made that weird mistake with the sequencing of the trade between Rutger and Deke earlier, I think he could have made it further down. But, you know, it's all water under the choke point now. Roy should probably have had a rapier equipped, but, you know, stressful situations. Okay, so Rutger equips the killing edge. Probably just doesn't attack here, even if he clears in range. I like to just wait for a boss before attacking them here. It's fortunate that he doubles. You can attack with Marcus and rescue him out and then drop Rutger there. I forgot what Eric usually does on enemy phase. If he goes for the javelin or the steel sword, if you sit in front of him with Rutger or Marcus with Silver Lance. There's reasons why he would do either of them. And hopefully you can kill this cav without the need of those. So like Lou into Roy Chip, or Lou plus Walt plus Shanna if necessary. Some combo like that should get rid of this cav and you don't need him for the other things. Ideally you would use Shanna for rescue drops this turn, unlike boss related things. Oh, Roy's rapier is solo. I forgot about that part. Okay, so I understand why not using the rapier in enemy phase then. Okay. That's one more threat gone. Oh yeah, you want to get the village. It only has a steel blade, so it's not the end of the world if you miss it. I never used a steel blade in this game. But if you don't know what it is, then you probably want to get it. Like the other one gave you a rope. What is this one going to give you? I'll give the rope to Waltz. Oh, to make sure that it's... Oh yeah, you don't need to do that. Burn this. Even if he dies, he still gets the items you sent to convoy. But if you don't know that, then yeah, I understand this fully. Understandable. In case you can't tell, I took a bit of a break between recording these, so if my commentary is a bit more disjointed from what I saw in the footage when previewing it earlier, then that's why. Yeah, I do think Deke should move up to kill that pirate. He's a threat. He's annoying. Oh, that halberd is tempting. That is a tempting halberd. Getting rid of the Jav Cav. Okay, yep. Deke takes care of the pirate by missing a 71. Just as planned. I think these units still stay where they are, because you're isolating the one cav from Deke. And that's all you can do. The other ones are already, like, in range-ish. I guess you can move a lot, like, one down and then have Boris vulnerary, but... it's such a, like, scuffed situation for them all. Oh! Oh, we're doing it. Oh, okay, we're killing this cav. Let's go. Alright, Albert, one cav down. I don't think I would have done that, but I appreciate the guts. I like it. That is a fun risk to take. Ironically, the javelin does the least damage, so I don't know if it was like... if he really was the biggest threat, but, you know, I appreciate the attempt. Alright, Boar's gonna vuln. Stay alive longer, I get it. And now the fighter's out of range of the fire with the pirate, so I don't mind that idea. That was smart, that was smart. I like that sequence. I think... Rutger survives Archer plus Eric. So leaving in there should be fine. You kill the Archer with people, heal Rutger, and then hopefully you get enough crits to make this worth. It's kind of disgusting that a crit does reasonable damage to Eric, but a non-crit just does 4. Like, in order to do as much damage as Marcus does, you need to crit with the killing edge. But at least Rutger gets 2 shots at it, right? Okay, yeah, I don't blame him for trying this 11 damage attack here, but 60 hit is 60 hit. My first Iron Man ever, Eric crit my Rutger. It was very sad. And yeah, this miss is within expectations. 60 hit is not a lot. So now, I'll probably risk drop out Marcus and put Rutger there. I was assuming he survives the Archer. I didn't catch the numbers there. It is so tempting to go deal with the calves, right? But, wait, where are you going, Lance? Are you gonna fight pirates? What? Okay. I don't know if I like this. I really want to have the calves available to rescue drop people near the boss. Because that's how you can get more progress on him, is have multiple people attack him. I get it. And you still have Clarine and Shanna, so there's still potential for that, but more is better in this case. What if that calves is going to move towards us as well? That could make for some extra trouble, because all the fragile units are in the middle here. I guess with Roy and Lou and Walt there, they can all gang up on the cav if he comes up. Oh, we're giving the mends to Clarine. I do like that. Get more healing. Ready. Only unit with more mobility. No, Rutger, stay here. We need you. No, don't go away. We need your killing edge. No. Okay, we're going to fight the pirates with him, apparently. So I guess it's going to be up to Marcus to fight the boss. Like, just Marcus. If the boss keeps using the steel sword, that probably works out. If he switches to the javelin, I fear for his hit rates. I also fear for Deke's life right now. Holy shit, he's in so much danger. Oh no, Deke. Are you going to be okay? From memory, this chapter has a happy ending, but it doesn't look very happy right now, does it? Oh, Deke. Oh no. Oh no, Deke. That's not good. This is, like, if you're going to lose Deke ever, this is probably one of the better chapters, but without him, chapter 5 is kind of, he's kind of good there. And also, he had the Armor Slayer. That's going to be a big sad, not having that one. You'll get a new one, but I usually use up both of them, because they're so good. Such a good weapon. You'll be missed, Deke. And the fighters don't look long for this world either. Alright, he does keep the steel sword. That is good news. I don't know why he does that. Probably because he does more damage with it, but oh my god, what a bad choice. And Marcus looks ready to take another couple beatings. Yeah, you can just attack this turn. And you want to attack like every turn if you can. Like, just not ignore the archer, but just make sure the archer doesn't kill you and it should be fine. And yeah, I would just move Wade and Lot like in the forests, I think, up there. Not even pausing and pointing anymore, because you can see what I mean, right? Yeah, just attack. Very good. Just go ham. In fact, yeah, because you can heal him afterwards is the worst case scenario. That archer doesn't attack Clarine, so yeah, this is safe. The boss does attack Clarine though, so you have to do a little bit of rescue dropping. That will probably make him javelin you. But it's worth, because it's, you know, more HP off the boss. Not sure exactly where we're going from here. I think the boss missed Marcus, so he doesn't have to get healed this turn. But yeah, just put like as many units in the force as you can. Or go for like suicide halberds, that's completely fine too. I like the force plan because it is more likely to delay these enemies more. But I can't blame him for trying this if he does. Please do it. It'll be so funny. Please hit. Ah, 2 out of 2. Perfect, Lot. Perfect. Alright, great. So we got rid of the Javelin guy and the Iron Lance guy. That is really nice. Ah, more bulk. Just what he needs to stay alive longer. Maybe they will survive. That'd be epic. If they survived, but Deke did not. That'd be something else. We're training the Iron Axe to stay alive longer. Oh, Hand Axe. Okay, that's good too. That works. Please make sure at least one unit is in range of this cav. So that the, like, doesn't go left. Unless he's, like, gonna save him with Alan, Lance, and Rutger. Oh, rescue dropping Lou out. I do like that. That will keep the boss on using his steel sword against Marcus, which means Lou can chip him for free again next turn, and Marcus has more accuracy, so this is all... The boss kill strategy is surprisingly good, even though it's the simplest it could possibly be. Like, put Marcus in front of him with a Silver Lance. I'm very proud of Hayden for saving the Silver Lance for this moment. Oh, Shanna's gonna save one of the fighters. Surprise save. If you're gonna go there, you might as well make the... Yeah, you could even go further to the left. Because if you're gonna rescue drop that fighter out, you could just put Shanna further away. They can walk towards her. But I guess we're gonna save them all with the calves. I guess everyone's gonna get rescued now. Unlikely as this is. You're getting rescued. You're getting rescued. Everyone's getting rescued. I'm not sure if Roy's in siege range this turn. If Marcus, by some miracle, kills the boss now. I think he just has to hit both 60s to get it done. I think if it's a gate, I think he can seize next turn. And I think it is a gate, not a throne, because we're outdoors. This is usually a gate. Thrones cost 1 extra move for Roy to move forward. That's why I'm wondering that out loud. Alright, Boris is doing surprisingly well against these reinforcement calves. I guess it helps that they're not doubling him, unlike the main group. This is a little sketch, but I think we saw Wade does not get doubled. Okay. Alright. Just hit 2 out of 2, Marcus. You got this. There's 1. And he dodged 2, so he can very safely attack again. You always heal him too, of course. Alright, res, just what we need in this situation. Perfect. Archer, just ignore him. He's just trying to get a reaction out of you. Just ignore him. Okay. Well, if Marcus hits, then we're home free, right? Or maybe like Lou plus Walt, maybe. I think the silver has the best hit. Oh, we're trying to do some kind of combo. I see. I think just trying with the silver alone gives you the best odds here. Yeah, Walt doesn't do damage. I was afraid of that. If you kill with Roy, you cannot seize. You can always heal Marcus with green. If he misses and then gets hit. Please hit. Nice. The classic Jagan EXP steal crit. Alright, that's great. Goodbye. Well, okay, so now you have a seize button. You can just seize the chapter whenever you want. So you just farm whatever XP you want and then get the heck out of here. I'm pretty sure Hayden is not going to throw. I'll check just in case, but we're just seizing? Yeah, we can get out. Okay, great. That was hectic. So, what did we learn today? We learned that choking points can feel pretty safe, but it does have its drawbacks. You can definitely get overwhelmed by the reinforcements, and it can cost some lives if it happens. We also learned we can recover from these mistakes. We can improvise through them. Hit the occasional halberd hit. Boars surprisingly tanky these enemies. We learned all about keeping reinforcements contained in certain areas, both with Deke and with other units. And all in all, a good time was had. So, what is left for me is to say thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this chess-like analysis of Chapter 4 of FE6 Hard Mode. Hope it gave you some ideas from your own run, or hope you were at least mildly entertained. Thanks to Hayden for submitting. Thanks to everyone else who's also submitted their videos, either in the Discord channel or on the Patreon. You can still submit them. Of course, it takes me a while to make these. It takes me a while to watch these, so there's a long queue and it'll take me a while to get to them. But if I see something interesting, chances are I'll probably watch it at least. So thank you, and I will see you next time.